Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 99 536 Twin Dragons Emerges from the Sea, Netherworld White Bones. 99th of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Shencang's cultivation had long since reached the 7th realm. After mastering the illusory bubble technique at the Twin Rice sect's main hall, she stood only a hair's breadth away from becoming a transcendent. Had her soul spirit, mental faculties, and comprehension not been damaged by soul-searching techniques, she might already have attained the other shore realm. Li Wei didn't know the exact level or mysteries of the 7th realm. However, with this level of cultivation, Shencang could sit 60 miles away and create an invisible barrier that left the Hidden Lord, a cultivator of the immortal realm, with no escape. Even the myriad miles divine swift talisman proved useless. This alone demonstrated the extent of her power. With such cultivation methods, the demon beasts lurking beneath the sea couldn't even approach this area, eliminating any risk of their secrets being exposed. Splash! Li Wei leapt down and rejoined the Hidden Lord. The Hidden Lord, highly skilled in the talisman Dao, activated a mist talisman, shrouding the entire sea in a dense white fog. The swirling, ethereal mist trapped the two great immortal realm powerhouses, Yaoqian and Yongyin. The fog within the talisman was harvested from Burial Immortal Town, making it several times denser than ordinary mist. It not only blocked vision but also dulled hearing, smell, perception, and willpower. The Hidden Lord sensed every move of his two great enemies within the fog. As the mist and runes were continuously dispersed by their attacks, his brow furrowed deeply. "How is it going?" he asked. "The chief has already severely wounded him." Li Wei ultimately decided to protect Shencang with a lie, simultaneously safeguarding the Hidden Lord. Shencang was no mere Buddhist cultivator, she possessed both the compassion of a bodhisattva and the ruthless methods of a cultivator. She certainly wouldn't treat everyone with the same courtesy and trust she showed Li Wei. The Hidden Lord knew too much, and she might silence him permanently. The Hidden Lord, wearing a metal mask, revealed a flicker of joy in his eyes beneath it. "So the chief is traveling with you. You should have said so earlier. I've been worried sick. Where is the chief now?" The great immortal cultivator from the Rice Palace was formidable, Li Wei replied. After being wounded, he escaped using a secret technique. The chief has already pursued him to eliminate the threat completely. The Hidden Lord trusted Li Wei implicitly, never doubting his words. Yet something felt off about the situation. If the chief is with you, why did you waste a myriad miles divine swift talisman earlier? And why are you calling him chief? Shouldn't you address him as master? Also, Li Wei summoned the myriad manifestation staff spear, holding it upright like a towering peak. "Lao Li, why are you always so fussy? With such a formidable enemy at hand, do you really think I'd betray you? Master has already ordered us to eliminate Yaoqian and Yongyin, those two great enemies of the Zhu Li clan, and sever Shencang's arms, crippling him completely. If either of them escapes, you'll kneel in the Ancestral Hall on Ancestral Mountain for 3 years." Master was utterly serious when she said that. Hidden Lord was Master Coffin's 7th-generation descendant, his most direct lineage. Master Coffin had ordered him to kneel in the Ancestral Hall. Whether judged by cultivation level or seniority, any protest from Hidden Lord would add another 3 years to his punishment. Hidden Lord sensed Li Wei was concealing something, but now wasn't the time to pry. He said solemnly, "If that great immortal has already escaped, then today, this sovereign will settle both old scores and new grudges with Yao Yang. 3 years ago, Yaoqian escaped my grasp, carrying a life-saving talisman bestowed by the second palace master. For 3 years, I've been preparing talismans and formations to kill Yaoqian. I won't give him another chance to escape." Li Wei, sword in his right hand and spear in his left, tossed out a curt, "Yaoqian is mine," and charged into the mist. Don't underestimate him. Immortal realm martial mystic cultivators aren't as simple as you think. Be careful. Ah, young people, so eager to show off. Hidden Lord knew Li Wei's true strength. He was far from the immortal realm, attempting to defy the odds and strike upward against a superior foe. If he actually defeated Yaoqian, it would be a truly terrifying feat. Even a true disciple of the ancient sect at the peak of the 9th heaven or half-step immortal would immediately flee upon encountering a immortal realm powerhouse like Yaoqian. Sheng Wulian and Si Wuyan, having failed to cultivate a immortal body, still fell short of true disciples. In Hidden Lord's eyes, Tang Wanzhou from a few years ago was the true embodiment of what a true disciple in the Dao Seed realm should be. With the dragon soul within the governor's robe, the combined might of man and dragon should be able to match Yaoqian. If he can keep Yaoqian occupied while I deal with Yongyin, victory will be assured. Having finalized his strategy, Hidden Lord felt his blood boil with anticipation. He had been planning this battle for at least a decade, and the opportunity had finally arrived. The key to victory lies with me. I must end this swiftly. Hidden Lord spread his arms wide, channeling a torrent of spiritual chi into the governor's robe. Instantly, a dragon soul erupted from the embroidered patch on the robe's chest, unleashing a colossal wave that surged toward Yang Yin. Even with his cultivation at the first realm of the immortal realm, he could only awaken a fraction of the dragon soul within the robe for his use. Meanwhile, Li Wei had already flown several miles away. The yellow dragon sword in his hand blazed with radiant light as 9 ancient characters materialized, crackling with thunder and lightning. His sword intent stirred the waters beneath him, transforming them into a towering, 100-meter-high tidal wave. The sheer force of his aura sent shivers down the spines of Yao Qian and Yang Yin, even 2 miles away. The wind mansion breaks through to immortal realm. Yang Yin asked. Not necessarily immortal realm, Yao Qian replied. Yao Qian had been observing Li Wei since the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, gaining a deep understanding of his extraordinary talent. Such innate gifts, combined with his engagement to the heaven's chosen daughter of the ancient myriad sects and his extraordinary connection to the Grand Palace Mansion, made him the envy of every martial mystic cultivator in the world. Yao Qian had repeatedly attempted to eliminate Li Wei, but each attempt ended in failure, forcing him to watch helplessly as Li Wei rose like a comet. Their previous sword clash had shattered Yao Qian's psychological advantage. The fates of Yu Zi, Xie Chukai, Si Wuyan, and others flashed through his mind. Banishing these distracting thoughts, Yao Qian's eyes blazed with cold light as he gripped his sword hilt tightly and unleashed a horizontal slash. Whoosh! The sword chi stretched 1,000 feet, as bright as the full moon. Li Wei met his gaze and retaliated with a fierce downward strike, unleashing the full power of his immortal body and ninth heaven martial mystic Dao cultivation. Within his veins, blood chi surged like a raging torrent, coursing through his entire body. As the sword light slashed through the air, a dragon shadow and thunder and lightning accompanied it, shattering the 1,000-foot sword radiance. The razor-sharp sword chi, undiminished in momentum, reached Yao Qian, only to be blocked by his protective spiritual chi and the immortal scripture. Whoosh! Whoosh! Yao Qian's battle intent surged. He strode forward, unleashing a second sword strike, then a third. By the 5th strike, the two of them clashed at close quarters, their blades meeting with full force. A massive wave of energy erupted outward, martial chi swirling like mist and distorting the very air. Almost simultaneously, the dragon soul erupted from Li Wei's chest, while Yao Qian's ancestral field unleashed 40,000 immortal scripture characters, coalescing into a scripture river that collided with the dragon soul. Each immortal scripture character contained profound power, akin to 40,000 talismans converging into an overwhelmingly potent force. Among them were immortal Dao scripture characters, their power radiating with even greater intensity, shimmering like starlight. However, Yao Qian had not cultivated the dragon seed Dao and possessed relatively few of these. Boom! The dragon soul and the scripture river collided, sending both warriors hurtling backward, each leaving a deep trench in the sea behind them. Before Li Wei could regain his footing, Yang Yin executed a body technique, skimming across the water from the right flank. As the Sui sect's second strongest warrior after Yang Shenzheng, Yang Yin was 117 years old, having reached the immortal realm 2 decades prior. He appeared to be in his 50s, with a lean face and a long, flowing beard. With a single thrust of his sword, 10,000 blades materialized and flew forth. This sword technique, honed over decades, unleashed sword forms and sword chi like a torrential downpour, leaving no room for evasion. Even more terrifying, Yang Yin followed closely behind the swarm of blades, his double pupils burning like twin thunderbolts, his sword etched with scripture characters, poised to strike. Roar! The dragon soul unleashed by the Hidden Lord surged forth from behind Li Wei, merging with the immortal scripture to obliterate Yang Yin's sword shadows. With a mighty tail sweep, the dragon soul unleashed its thunderous power, sending Yang Yin crashing backward. Li Wei halted a mile away, his toes barely touching the water as he gracefully landed atop the dragon soul's head, his gaze fixed on the scripture river swirling around Yao Qian. Yao Qian's cultivation speed had far exceeded Li Wei's expectations. Judging by the sheer volume of immortal scripture he had cultivated, he was already nearing the mid-stage of the first realm. How long had it been since Yao Qian's breakthrough to immortal realm? Clearly, his journey to the East Sea had yielded immense gains, propelling his cultivation forward with astonishing speed. After their initial clash, Yao Qian and Yang Yin both felt a chill as they stared at the two dragon souls facing them. They realized this wasn't a 2-on-2 battle, but a 2-on-4. Yang Yin knew Yao Qian had obtained the dragon soul source light in the East Sea and had been refining and absorbing it ever since, resulting in a massive surge in cultivation. His combat prowess now rivaled Yang Yin's own mid-stage first realm strength. Are you holding back? Yang Yin demanded, has Li Wei truly grown this strong? Even with the immortal body, he shouldn't be this powerful. Let's kill Li Wei first. Don't let the dragon soul distract you. Once he's dead, the dragon soul will dissipate naturally. We need to defeat them one by one. Yao Qian's expression turned grave as he fully activated his spiritual chi. Snow began to fall from the sky, condensing out of thin air. That won't work. You don't get to dictate how this battle unfolds. The Hidden Lord's black robes billowed as he held the bronze brush in one hand and the prefectural governor's official seal in the other. He swooped down onto the head of another dragon soul, diving toward Li Wei. Gentlemen, after decades of animosity, let's settle this with a fair duel today. May fate decide our destinies. Li Wei clashed his sword and staff together, then raised the myriad manifestation staff spear above his head. Instantly, sunlight streamed down from the heavens, drawn down by him like silken threads. It enveloped his body, weaving together with his psychic radiance to form a shimmering suit of armor. Psychic power and martial mystic techniques combined, spiritual light protecting his body. Sword and spear struck simultaneously, clashing with Yao Qian's sword shadows in a crackling storm of energy. The armor around Li Wei melted the falling snow, deflecting sword chi, his momentum growing stronger with each strike. The two figures soared across the sea surface, trading blows amidst the collision of dragon souls and immortal scripture. Li Wei gradually gained the upper hand, forcing Yao Qian into a steady retreat. Netherworld white bones. Yao Qian landed on the sea surface, retreating as icy chi erupted from his body, freezing the water beneath his feet into solid ice. Netherworld chi surged from Yao Qian's ancestral field, coalescing into a 30-foot-tall white bone skeleton, instantly amplifying his combat prowess. The skeletal behemoth unleashed a punch that sent Li Wei, who had been pursuing him, flying over 6 miles away. The fist's force, formed from condensed sword chi, lacked the weight of a physical blow. Instead, it possessed an insidious, penetrating power that bypassed defenses. Bang! Li Wei's psychic power armor shattered. Only the defensive capabilities of his governor's robe managed to dissipate the fist's energy, redirecting it into a shockwave that radiated outward. Netherworld white bones represented the fourth layer of the great technique, snow burial cold hell. Yao Qian, with his exceptional comprehension, had cultivated this technique to a minor mastery. Unleashing it with his immortal realm cultivation, its destructive potential was undeniable. Seeing Li Wei withstand the punch, quickly regain his footing without broken bones or blood, Yao Qian realized his immortal body had reached its peak. Abandoning the pursuit, he charged toward the dragon soul. Adapting his battle technique to the battlefield's dynamics, Yao Qian demonstrated remarkable combat intelligence. He understood that while the governor's robe was a treasure, activating the dragon soul or spatial teleportation consumed vast amounts of spiritual chi. Li Wei had already unleashed the dragon soul once, this was his second attempt. Shattering the dragon soul, Yao Qian believed, would prevent Li Wei from summoning it a third time. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 100 537 Yao Qian's Strongest State. 100th of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Yao Qian is truly formidable, not to be underestimated. Realizing he couldn't reach the scene in time, Li Wei didn't rush over immediately. Instead, he used his intent to guide the dragon soul into the depths of the sea while the heavenly sword talisman flew forth from between his eyebrows. The Hidden Lord, already clashing with Yang Yin, was closer and more experienced. Accustomed to controlling the battlefield, he hurled the prefectural governor's official seal at Yao Qian. Yao Qian's movements were mystical. He dodged the official seal with a subtle shift of his body, then unleashed an icy palm strike that dimmed the talisman light, froze it into a crystalline shard, and sent it plummeting into the sea. The heavenly sword talisman was a single strike, its power comparable to a single attack from a immortal realm martial mystic cultivator. Li Wei had never expected it to kill a immortal realm expert, merely stalling Yao Qian for a moment would be a victory. As Yao Qian swung his sword at the dragon soul, he sensed a tremendous danger looming overhead. A dense barrage of thunder and lightning descended. Clearly, Yao Qian aimed to destroy the dragon soul, while Li Wei sought to shatter his netherworld white bone Dao technique. Each had their own tactical approach. Forced into a defensive posture, Yao Qian pivoted and thrust his sword skyward. Whoosh! 40,000 immortal sutra scriptures surged upward with his sword chi and intent, like a reverse rainstorm, colliding head-on with the thunder and lightning unleashed by the purple heaven thunder seal. Boom! The house-sized purple heaven thunder seal crashed down, its impact creating a massive crater in the sea's surface. A dense web of lightning blanketed several miles, resembling a vast purple sea, a truly awe-inspiring sight. The power of the myriad inscriptions artifact was overwhelming. Though Yao Qian evaded the artifact's seal itself, the thunderous strikes shattered his protective spiritual chi, scorching his spiritual artifact robe black and forcing him to stagger backward repeatedly. Li Wei, treading on a green mist, hovered above the purple sea of lightning, merging with the dragon soul that erupted from the depths. Yao Qian, show me your true strength. Only the 7th grade 1000 inscriptions armor you stole from Prince Mingzhao can withstand the purple heaven thunder seal. On Yao Qian's chest, the charred spiritual artifact robe crumbled into fingernail-sized black fragments, revealing scorched skin beneath. He had never imagined being pushed to such a desperate situation against Li Wei, and his pride struggled to accept it. Yao Qian glared at the figure in midair. You only managed to wound me because of your artifact's advantage. Without the governor's official robe and the purple heaven thunder seal, how many of my sword strikes could you withstand? You think this is all I've got? Li Wei retorted. Yao Qian wasn't one to boast. He refused to risk further confrontation, knowing that even victory would come at a terrible cost. Hall Master Qing'an, Palace Master, and please suppress Li Wei. Capturing him would be a great achievement. The Hidden Lord snorted coldly, with the Zhu Li chief personally intervening. Bodhisattva and is on the verge of collapse, unable to protect herself. You two won't be rescued. Today, this feud ends with a single strike of my sword. Yao Qian and Yang Yin paled. They had assumed Shanjing was merely trying to avoid being manipulated by Yang Shenjing, explaining her reluctance to attack. They never imagined Li Wei would summon the Zhu Li chief himself. Both men were exceptionally shrewd and decisive. Activating their escape techniques, they fled in opposite directions. Still trying to escape. Formation, activate. The Hidden Lord's spiritual light erupted like a blazing sun. Instantly, formation plate patterns and formation scriptures materialized in the air above the sea. As the mist gradually dissipated, 24 otherworldly coffins appeared, arranged in a circular formation across 10 miles of ocean. Each coffin served as a formation platform, intercepting the fleeing men. Beneath the waves, a different configuration unfolded. Li Wei released 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, forming a combined attack formation as he rode the dragon soul. Raising the myriad manifestations staff spear high, he enveloped the 100-meter-long dragon soul in formation plate and star track patterns. This time, he engaged Yang Yin first. Under the combined attack formation, Yang Yin fought valiantly against 9 opponents. However, the purple heaven thunder seal shattered his protective spiritual chi, forcing him to retreat with grievous injuries. Li Wei pressed his advantage, drawing Yang Yin into the sun, moon, and stars grand formation, where he unleashed a relentless barrage of sword strikes and spear thrusts. The dragon soul's claws tore through Yang Yin's defenses, while the 7 phoenix launched a coordinated assault. Soon, Yang Yin's injuries numbered 13, far more severe than any he had sustained in his earlier clash with the Hidden Lord. Li Wei and the Hidden Lord employed completely contrasting combat styles. Li Wei's attacks were ferocious, his momentum overwhelming, and his fighting spirit soared to the heavens. Shanjing stood 60 miles away, observing the battle within the formation. The scene left her deeply shaken. Throughout her cultivation journey, she had heard legends of Dao Seed Realm cultivators defying the immortal realm, but today, she witnessed such a feat firsthand. She recalled their encounter years ago outside Li Prefecture's provincial city, when Li Wei had been a disheveled youth, barely able to stand on his own. How had he reached such heights in just a few years? Though he relied on powerful artifacts and strange insects, every true disciple of the ancient sect possessed their own unique methods. He wasn't bluffing after all. Was his ancestral field truly destroyed? If not, why did he see Dao in his wind mansion? Ah. Shanjing sighed softly, her mind drifting to impractical, illusory thoughts. Unbeknownst to herself, she desperately longed to see Li Wei ascend to the immortal realm. Whether Li Wei's ancestral field was truly damaged or whether he had broken through the shackles of his wind mansion, Shanjing believed that witnessing him take that final step would bring her a unique sense of profound emotion and satisfaction. At that moment, he would surely be capable of battling opponents 2 realms above his own, contending with the true disciples of the ancient sect, and soaring through even greater realms of existence. Shanjing's tranquil thoughts drifted far away. Profound 9 light illuminations. Yang Yin's hair and beard flew wildly as he unleashed his most powerful Dao technique sword strike. A flash of profound light erupted from his body, drawing forth a waterfall of sword chi that slashed directly at Li Wei, who stood at the heart of the formation. Li Wei neither dodged nor evaded, meeting the strike head-on with his Tai Yi Si opening technique. Another flash of profound light, and Yang Yin's second sword strike, even more ferocious than the first, instantly shattered the momentum of the sun, moon, and stars grand formation. Yang Yin roared like thunder, as if declaring to Li Wei, I'm willing to trade my life for yours. If you push me too far, and we'll both perish. The 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors were sent flying by the force of the second strike. From Li Wei's ancestral field, over a dozen spiritual artifacts surged forth. There were 1,000 inscriptions artifacts, such as Xie Chukai's Blood Pool Silver Sea Battle Blade and the 3-eyed Kai Zhao's Wind Thunder Banner. There were also 100 character artifacts, like Huangshu's 3 swords. Not a single one was ordinary, all were at least 9th grade 100 inscriptions artifacts. These artifacts barely managed to block the second strike. Yang Yin's body erupted in a third flash of profound light, his entire being, hair, skin, and all, glowing with incandescent brilliance. The third sword strike descended with unfathomable power, like a silver river cascading from the heavens, arcing across the celestial dome. Li Wei braced the purple heaven thunder seal to block the sword strike, but the force sent him staggering backward. His blood qi churned violently, his protective spiritual qi shattered, and a sword gash appeared on his skin. All his spiritual artifacts were sent flying in every direction. Could he truly have mastered the profound 9 light illuminations? Each sword strike grows stronger. I can't possibly withstand all 9. Li Wei knew the desperate counterattacks of immortal realm martial mystic cultivators were terrifying, often capable of taking down opponents stronger than themselves. Uncertain of Yang Yin's true strength, he secretly considered whether to temporarily avoid his full force. But after the fourth flash of light, Yang Yin's fourth sword strike didn't target him. Instead, it cleaved toward the formation laid by the Hidden Lord. I almost fell for his bluff. If he had truly mastered the 9 illuminations, this fourth strike would have been aimed at me, not used to break the formation. Convinced Yang Yin had only mastered 4 sword strikes, Li Wei channeled spiritual qi into over a dozen spiritual artifacts, launching a massive counterattack. Crash! Yang Yin's fourth sword strike was devastatingly powerful. It tore through the formation's protective light, shattering an otherworldly coffin. A breach appeared in the formation. Swish! Swish! Yang Yin's eyes lit up with triumph as he manipulated over 60,000 Immortal Sutra scriptures to collide with the dozen spiritual artifacts hurtling toward him from behind. His figure retreated explosively. Li Wei slashed horizontally with his sword, cutting through the Immortal Sutra scriptures and striking Yang Yin. PFF'd. Yang Yin was sent flying dozens of meters, blood spurting from his mouth and nose. After unleashing 4 desperate sword strikes powered by the profound 9 light illuminations, Yang Yin was left severely weakened, unable to withstand Li Wei's relentless attack. A gap had appeared in the formation, and Li Wei dared not give Yang Yin a moment to recover. If he allowed him to activate his escape technique, their entire plan would be for naught. Whoosh! Li Wei moved like a phantom, agile as a dragon, his feet landing on the shadow of the cauldron. Yang Yin desperately swung his sword upward, but he clearly sensed a dragon claw emerging from the seawater beneath him, surrounded by swirling mist and crackling lightning. Caught between 2 threats, he was overwhelmed. Bang! Splurt! The dragon claw struck Yang Yin, sending him crashing back into the formation, his body bleeding profusely and racked with unbearable pain. As he was flung backward, his vision briefly went dark. When his sight returned, he saw not Li Wei pursuing him, but Yao Qian, who had flown out of the formation's breach on his sword. Yao Qian was encased in black armor, its surface densely covered with shimmering scriptures. He glanced down at Yang Yin, who was plummeting back into the formation, sighed, and then fled without looking back. There was no way to save him. If they missed this chance to escape and were caught in a pincer attack by Li Wei and Li Songgu, neither of them would survive. Old Li, Yang Yin is yours. Li Wei gathered all his spiritual artifacts and the 7 strange insects, then activated space evasion, reappearing several miles away in the void to intercept Yao Qian. Seeing that Li Wei lacked the aid of a dragon soul and couldn't form a combined attack formation in time, Yao Qian judged this to be his only chance to kill him. After all, given Li Wei's cultivation speed, even if his martial mystic path progress was hindered, his psychic power would rapidly ascend to the holy spiritual master realm. With the Zhu Li chief and Grand Palace master protecting him, Li Wei's rising momentum had become unstoppable. Since you seek death, I shall grant it to you. Dragon roars echoed from Yao Qian's body as he refined the 5 dragon tendons of Prince Mingzhao, greatly enhancing his physical strength. His 7th grade 1000 inscriptions armor further amplified his defensive and explosive power. Sizzle. Li Wei summoned the Fusong Divine Tree Light Shadow, Wind Mansion spiritual qi surging forth in a torrent. His martial mystic path and psychic power merged, coalescing into a massive, fiery grinding wheel that collided with Yao Qian's incoming attack. You're strong, stronger than even the true disciples of the ancient sects. But strength alone can't overcome the Dao Seed realm. Yao Qian's momentum remained unbroken, shattering the karma-burning wheel. He spread the fingers of his right hand. The black armored fingers transformed into razor-sharp flood dragon claws, striking down toward Li Wei's head. Li Wei's eyes remained calm as he retreated with practiced footwork, his hands releasing spiritual qi and his brow emitting spiritual light. His intent erupted, fully controlling the flames, entering a state of absolute focus where only he and his enemy existed. The karma-burning wheel, torn in 2 by Yao Qian, transformed into a 7-clawed flame heavenly dragon on the left and a 3-legged golden crow on the right. The 7-clawed flame heavenly dragon coiled upward, soaring toward Yao Qian. Each of its 7 claws struck with a different technique. Yao Qian, enveloped by the dragon shadow, sensed the formidable power of Li Wei's martial mystic intent combined with his secret techniques. The dragon's flames burned with terrifying heat, and its strength was overwhelming. Even his cultivated netherworld white bone defenses might not withstand it. Boom. Empowered by his armor, Yao Qian seized the dragon, shattering it into scattered fire clouds. But the golden crow shrieked, diving from above. One claw gripped Yao Qian's head, while the other two seized his legs, attempting to tear him apart. The hidden lord, having immobilized Yang Yin with a body-fixing talisman, rushed to the scene. He froze in horror at the sight. The entire sky blazed with flames, resembling the true golden crow's majestic descent. Its wings shimmered brilliantly, and its piercing cry shook the heavens. Had Yao Qian not worn his treasured armor, he would have been torn to shreds. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 101 538 Burying 30 Li of Snow. 101st of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The water's surface was as smooth as a mirror. At the bow of a small boat, and Shanjing stood quietly, her prayer beads in hand, gazing intently at the horizon, her brow furrowed slightly. Li Weiyi's sixfold samsara burning karma technique was terrifyingly powerful, almost excessively so. Having cultivated this technique for centuries, constantly refining and perfecting it, she understood its mysteries better than anyone. When combined with psychic power, the sixfold samsara burning karma technique indeed possessed the power of an imperial technique. However, Li Weiyi's third layer, karmic fire transformation, clearly surpassed even the third layer of an imperial technique in destructive force. She shuddered to imagine the power he would unleash upon mastering the fourth layer, Vajra's wrathful gaze. His seven-clawed flame heavenly dragon spiritual chi and golden crow flame psychic power aura are no ordinary flames, their rank are astonishing. When combined, they push the sixfold samsara burning karma technique to its absolute limit. If he masters Vajra's wrathful gaze, could he potentially use the momentum of his Dao technique to break through the Wind Mansion's shackles? The hidden lord, wielding his bronze brush, skimmed across the sea surface. 7 talismans shot from his sleeve, striking Yao Qian, who was being torn apart by the golden crow. He aimed to seize this opportunity to eliminate him. Yao Qian's 7th grade 1000 inscriptions artifact armor erupted with power. Scripture flashed across the armor, scattering nether light in all directions. Each surge of energy grew stronger, culminating in a thunderous explosion that shattered the fiery golden crow. At that moment, Yao Qian finally realized Li Weiyi hadn't been bluffing. With his secret technique of harmonizing psychic and martial mystic prowess, Li Weiyi's combat strength was far from the weakest among those in the first realm of Immortal Realm, enough to pose a genuine threat to him. This ends here today. I will proclaim your strength in the Dao Seed realm to the world, Li Weiyi, and make your name known. Yao Qian's figure transformed into a swift black shadow, resembling a flood dragon, and plunged toward the sea surface. The hidden lord knew of Prince Mingzhao's treasured armor, the water dragon scale armor. When submerged, it allowed the wearer to transform into a flood dragon, granting unparalleled speed in water, nearly impossible to pursue beneath the great immortal realm. So-called virtuous gentleman, yet your actions betray all semblance of virtue. I have waited 3 years for this day. Where do you think you can escape now? From the hidden lord's ancestral field, a white yin banner shot forth and plunged into the sea surface. The banner stood upright in the water, defying the waves. Splash. Dense formation glyphs, centered on the banner pole, rapidly spread across the sea surface. This was the Kandli tribe's most treasured artifact, the clan protection formation banner, wielded only by each generation's clan head. The glyphs inscribed upon it had been etched by a powerful holy spiritual king ancestor. Seeing the formation glyphs on the water, Yao Qian's eyes narrowed. He swung his sword in a swift arc. Icy chi surged from the sword radiance, scattering scripture fragments. The strike failed to breach the formation, leaving only a shimmering sword mark on the surface. Boom. In the next instant, Yao Qian's body collided with the array glyphs, sending him tumbling backward. The impact created a deep crater in the seawater beneath the white glyphs, unleashing a towering wave 10 meters high. The 7 talismans pursuing Yao Qian whistled through the air, striking him from 7 different directions with deafening explosions, each blow driving him back further. Bang! 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 The talismans clashed against his water dragon scale armor, erupting in 7 fiery clouds. Yao Qian spat out a mouthful of blood. The black scale armor, scorched crimson in places by the talisman fire, radiated intense heat. Each of the 7 talismans possessed immense power, each a priceless treasure. It was clear the hidden lord was sparing no expense and holding nothing back in his determination to kill Yao Qian. Yao Qian had just shattered 7 talismans, the turbulent spiritual chi within him yet to settle, when the air filled with dragon's roars. The wind howled, and lightning flashed. 2 colossal dragon souls, drawing upon the power of thunder and lightning, coiled around him. Li Weiyi hovered in midair, continuously channeling spiritual chi into the purple heaven thunder seal. The ancient seal gradually glowed with an increasingly intense purple radiance, its thunderous roars shaking the air, radiating a trace of the myriad inscriptions artifact's true power. Ordinarily, only the spiritual chi of a great immortal realm cultivator could unlock a portion of a myriad inscriptions artifact's true power, preventing it from remaining dormant. Below, on the sea's surface, the hidden lord wielded the yin banner in one hand and the bronze brush in the other, sprinting forward to close the distance. The bronze brush's bristles shot forth like a white waterfall or a volley of 10,000 arrows, traversing the half-kilometer gap and enveloping Yao Qian before the hidden lord's physical form could reach him. So it was you, Li Songgu, who killed Fu Wenyan. Yao Qian knew the purple heaven thunder seal and bronze brush were terrifying weapons, and even his water dragon scale armor couldn't withstand their combined attack. Whoosh! His eyes sharpened as he unleashed the spiritual chi and scripture bestowed upon him by Yang Shenjing from his ancestral field. In an instant, he shattered the two dragon souls and unleashed a tidal wave of power toward the hidden lord and Li Wei. The bronze brush's bristles scattered under the force of this spiritual chi, recoiling backward. The hidden lord raised the yin banner horizontally, conjuring a circular formation shield to block the surging tide of spiritual chi. The force of the impact sent him staggering backward. Li Wei frowned, forced to summon the purple heaven thunder seal to defend himself. From the base of the thunder seal, dozens of bolts of purple lightning erupted, their blinding light and deafening roar colliding with the onrushing tide of spiritual chi. With his current combat prowess, he no longer feared a single breath of spiritual chi from great immortal realm. Yao Qian, having repelled the hidden lord and Li Wei, seized the opportunity to break free from the encirclement and plunged into the water with a splash. Damn it! Li Wei locked onto Yao Qian with his psychic power and dove after him into the depths. Moments later, he caught up with Yao Qian underwater. Li Wei was puzzled. Why hadn't Yao Qian activated the power of his armor? But Yao Qian had activated his armor. The surrounding water had transformed into countless invisible tendrils, coiling around him and restricting his movements. Boom! Rumble! The two clashed fiercely underwater, then shattered the surface, soaring into the sky. The hidden lord, who had finally caught up, froze in surprise. He had expected Yao Qian to escape again, but Li Wei had proven remarkably capable, intercepting him even underwater. Without hesitation, the hidden lord hurled the prefectural governor's official seal toward the sky. Yao Qian was already wounded and had completely lost his will to fight. He desperately wanted to escape, his mind racing with suspicion and uncertainty. He guessed that a powerful figure was hiding nearby, using Dao techniques to block his path. Could this person be Shenjing? In his weakened state, he could barely muster 70% of his full combat strength. Unable to evade, he was struck by the prefectural governor's official seal. Boom! The impact pierced through his armor, slamming into his flesh. Bones shattered, flesh tore, and a muffled groan escaped his lips as he was hurled diagonally toward the sea. Blood seeped from the gaps between the scales of his 7th grade 1000 inscriptions artifact armor. After Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen had slain the 3 Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivators who had attempted to flee, they donned invisibility cloaks and cautiously approached the sea area from which the bottle's aftershocks emanated. I don't understand, Yang Qingchen said, we could have just left, escaped back to the Rice Realm, and avoided him in the future. Why kill those 3? If we're exposed, the higher-ups will never forgive us. Yang Qingxi was pondering the same question. Why? Even the most rational person, in certain moments, acts decisively based solely on instinct. Even if they later regret it, they would never admit they were wrong at the time. Yang Qingchen continued, you're really planning to present him with their heads. Yao Qian and your grandfather, Yang Yin, are over there, the outcome is far from certain. He'll never see you as an equal. Compared to Zhuoqiu Hongting, Yaoyan, Wu Hongling, and the others, you, Yang Qingxi, are stained with sin, your hands dripping with blood, your talent is worthless as dust. You're deluding yourself. Yang Qingxi strode forward, his feet skimming the water's surface. I don't need his approval. Does innate talent guarantee success? The rice people rise from the mud to gaze at the azure sky. Humble origins don't mean we'll always lag behind. They may have a 10-year, 20-year head start, but I'll chase them for 100 years, 1,000 years. This isn't just about a moment in time, it's about an enduring legacy. A single stalk of rice in the vast sea, 1,000 towering trees in the sky. Benevolence yields grain, rice breeds wolves. This is the fate of benevolent rice, the choice the rice people must make. Yang Qingchen stared at the horizon, her eyes wide with shock. As that, Yao Qian and Li Wei. 20 li away, above the sea, snow and nether clouds surged forward, pursued by a fiery cloud and crackling lightning. Within the snow and nether clouds, Yao Qian was clearly visible. His water dragon scale armor had shrunk and vanished, his body drenched in blood, his hair disheveled, utterly disheveled. Li Wei stood atop the fiery cloud, wielding thunder and lightning, roaring as he relentlessly pursued. Yang Qingxi was incredulous, how is this possible? The hidden lord, clutching his yin banner, followed closely along the sea surface, continuously sealing the water with array glyphs to prevent Yao Qian from escaping back into the depths. He was deeply shaken and speechless. He had believed himself to be the main force in this battle, the key to victory. Instead, he had become merely Li Wei's assistant. If the hidden ones of the hidden sect were to learn of this, it would be a complete disgrace. Boom. Li Wei, channeling the combined power of 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors, struck Yao Qian with a palm strike, sending him flying several miles to crash into the cliff face of a small island. A large section of the cliff collapsed. Whoosh. The yellow dragon sword transformed into a luminous yellow dragon, descending from the sky to pierce through the rubble and impale Yao Qian through the chest, pinning him firmly to the ground. 2 figures flashed into existence. The Hidden Lord and Li Wei landed on the island, appearing beside Yao Qian. Fearing Yao Qian might still have hidden cards, the Hidden Lord immediately thrust the Yin Banner's staff through his neck, ensuring his complete demise and eliminating any chance of further surprises. Sizzle. Blood gushed from Yao Qian's mouth, his eyes bulging with resentment as his body grew increasingly cold. The Hidden Lord gripped the banner staff tightly, his eyes widening even more than Yao Qian's. His heart pounded wildly, his blood still boiling, unable to calm down, struggling to believe this was truly happening. Many revered Yao Qian, believing he would become the next Yang Shenzheng and catch the second palace master's eye. Such a figure, had the Lingxiao realm not undergone its cataclysmic transformation, would have soared to unimaginable heights, his future limitless. Now, he lay at Li Wei's feet, a cold corpse. The dripping of blood echoed in the stillness, time seeming to stand still. After a long silence, Li Wei finally exhaled deeply, feeling little joy, but rather a deep sense of genkai, a complex emotion encompassing sorrow, regret, and a touch of melancholy. Yao Qian, in his final moments, must have had so much he wanted to say, yet not a single word escaped his lips. His mind drifted back to their first encounter. 30 Li Snow, what a legendary name, what an awe-inspiring level of cultivation. Now, in an instant, all had turned to dust. His thoughts then wandered to other oddities. Why hadn't Yao Qian used the immortal slaughtering divine snow 14 swords? Had Tang Wanzhou truly taught him the technique? As the formation glyphs on the Yin banner retracted, the sea breeze swept in. Clang. Li Wei shook off his chaotic thoughts, withdrew the sword piercing Yao Qian's chest, flicked his wrist to scatter the blood, and asked, "Where's Yang Yin?" Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 102 539 The 10-Year Promise. 102nd of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The Hidden Lord had regained his composure. From his cosmic pouch, he released Yang Yin, still immobilized by the immobilization talisman, who tumbled to the ground. Thwack. Li Wei's sword flashed, severing Yang Yin's head in a single stroke. What are you doing? The Hidden Lord was stunned by the sudden attack, unable to react in time. That's Yang Yin, a great power of the immortal realm and the second in command of the Sui sect. He's incredibly valuable alive, we could interrogate him or soul search him for vital information. Are you just acting recklessly? Eliminating him is the safest course of action, Li Wei thought. We can't risk endangering Shenzheng again. Li Wei slapped his forehead. I forgot. My bad, I acted impulsively. I was just worried Yang Yin might break free from the immobilization talisman, and we'd end up losing everything. Remember how close they came to escaping earlier. Great powers of the immortal realm are all formidable opponents, not to be underestimated. He quickly changed the subject. Lao Li, you're the real expert. How did you manage to trap Yao Qian underwater earlier? The Hidden Lord replied, didn't you blast Yao Qian out of the water yourself? Li Wei's heart stirred, and understanding dawned. He fell silent, quickly crouching down to search Yao Qian's ancestral field, wind mansion, and cosmic pouch. On Yao Qian's wrist, he found the water dragon scale armor, which had contracted into a black dragon scale bracelet. The Prince Mingzhao's trident spiritual artifact, also a 1,000 inscriptions artifact, was stored in the cosmic pouch. Yao Qian was more skilled with a sword than a trident, making him a more formidable opponent in sword combat. Beneath Yao Qian's skin, 5 golden dragon tendon patterns were visible. Dragon tendons were the foundation of the young celestial emperors of the underworld dragon clan, and they were not easily fused or refined. It would take at least several years for them to fully integrate with the body. Yao Qian's body is mine, and the treasures on Yang Yin's body are yours, Li Wei said, turning to the Hidden Lord. Those 5 dragon tendons are valuable. Do you dare to refine and absorb them? Li Wei himself had no interest in them, so he asked the Hidden Lord. The Hidden Lord hesitated. If the dragon tendons were ever exposed, Prince Mingzhao's death would be blamed on him, potentially bringing disaster upon the Zhu Li clan. Take your time to consider, Li Wei said. I'll be back soon. Li Wei left the island and flew away. Moments later, he arrived at the small boat 100 miles away, clasping his hands in a gesture of gratitude. Thank you for your assistance, Hall Master N. Without your help, Yao Qian would have escaped. Martial mystic cultivators in the immortal realm are indeed difficult to kill. And Shanjing stood against the wind, her hair swaying gently, her long robes and wide sleeves rustling softly. I didn't intervene. And don't boast to me. No matter how strong your combat prowess becomes, what good is it if you can't break through to immortal realm? Even ignoring those at the peak of the first realm, you're no match for the purple-clad woman and Wu Hongling, who are only at the early stages of the first realm. Li Wei asked, they broke through so quickly. Did they cultivate a immortal body? They've returned to Shenyi Mountain. And Shanjing replied, if you can't reach the immortal realm, they'll soon leave you far behind, leaving you to stand among the crowd, gazing up at their peerless splendor, forever out of reach. Li Wei pondered for a moment, then smiled, how dare I boast before Hall Master N. I've never considered defeating Yao Qian something to brag about. If one day I manage to catch up to Hall Master N and defeat you, that would be something truly satisfying. And Shanjing frowned, so you're determined to defeat me. I won't be easy to catch. I won't stand still. You've closed the gap of decades of cultivation in just a few years. I've cultivated diligently for 360 years. How many years do you think it will take you to catch up? 60. 30. 30 years is too long, and 20 is too much to wait. How about 10? Li Wei radiated composure and confidence, his eyes shining with unwavering light. And Shanjing found the suggestion laughable. Young and reckless, she said coolly, unaware of the difficulty of achieving immortal realm. You've absorbed a mere dozen dragon soul source lights and dare to speak so presumptuously. Very well, let's make it a 10-year pact. If your psychic power catches up within that time, it will count. She added the last part to prevent Li Wei from obsessing over the martial mystic Dao due to this agreement, which would lead him down a dead end. Focus on cultivating the fourth layer of Vajra's wrathful gaze, she continued, it might help you break through the immortal shackles. Li Wei countered, I've heard that the Lingxiao twin rice sect has produced numerous great immortal experts and even several transcendents in the past millennium. This is because they possess a shortcut to cultivating the immortal realm. Hall Master N, would you dare reveal this secret to me? So, this is what you were after all along, and Shanjing remarked. Li Wei replied, even without the 10-year pact, I believe Hall Master N would have told me if I had asked. And Shanjing was swayed by his approach, pondering for a moment before relenting. Fine, consider me indebted to you. I shouldn't have eaten that bowl of noodles back then. Just like those noodles, this karmic entanglement is endless and utterly infuriating. Truth is, there aren't many secrets, just 2 key points. First, by harnessing the twin rice sect's imperial technique, 3000 Starlight Bhagavata, you can manipulate starlight to more easily locate the immortal shackle within your body. Second, comprehending the Ji Emperor's Primordial Chaos Sutra can aid in breaking through to transcendence. These aren't major shortcuts. But if you can swiftly find the immortal shackle at each realm, you'll save significant time. Accumulated across the 7th realm, this advantage becomes substantial. Li Wei asked, if I use the myriad manifestations staff spear to manipulate starlight, would it have the same effect? Your staff spear is indeed extraordinary, likely a treasure of the ancient Bhagavata sect. Once you reach the peak of the 9th heaven, try it yourself and see if you can find the cosmic Shencang shackle. Martial mystic cultivators are approaching, I must leave now. And Shanjing said, wait a moment. We need to complete the act. Under and Shanjing's astonished gaze, Li Wei suddenly erupted with transcendental qi, strode forward, and thrust his palm toward her chest. Boom. A transcendent aura swept across the sky, terrifying the martial mystic cultivators who had rushed to investigate the sea. They scattered in panic. Meanwhile, demon beasts in the nearby waters discovered and Shanjing's steadily flowing blood. The blood qi was dense, each drop capable of staining vast stretches of the sea crimson. 15 minutes later, Li Wei, clutching his wrist, returned to the area. His palm still throbbed with pain. How could the gap be so vast? We're both in the immortal realm. If Yao Qian had taken that palm strike unprepared, he'd be half dead at best. But she emerged completely unscathed. In the end, and Shanjing had deliberately cut her wrist, releasing some blood to feign injury. Li Wei spotted Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen on the sea surface, their hands clasped behind their backs. He strode toward them, each step covering dozens of meters. Yang Qingxi dared not approach the area where Yao Qian had fallen, but she could guess the battle's outcome. Her eyes, dark and intense, fixed on Li Wei as she asked in a trembling, anxious voice, is my grandfather still alive? Li Wei met her gaze. I won't lie to you. I killed Yang Yin. Yang Qingxi remained silent for a long moment before nodding. I understand. She retrieved 3 severed heads and tossed them into the sea at Li Wei's feet. Slowly, she turned to leave. Li Wei's emotions were strangely complex. Yang Qingxi, I'll be waiting for your revenge at any time, but I hope you target only me. I won't seek revenge. I can't avenge him. You can already kill immortal realm martial mystic cultivators. How could I possibly retaliate? Yang Qingxi turned away, her pent-up emotions erupting. Her chest heaved, and tears of grief welled in her eyes. Why? My grandfather never opposed you. You could have killed Yao Qian. If you had, I might even have thanked you. Now that my grandfather is gone, there's no one left to protect me in the Bright Rice realm. The Yang Shenjing only cares about profit, not family ties. I don't believe I owe you anything. Every collaboration has been a mutually beneficial exchange. But this time, I'll consider myself indebted to you. If you ever need help in the future, you can come to me. Li Wei didn't mention the 5 million Yangquan coins. He couldn't tell if Yang Qingxi's grief was genuine or an act. If her emotions were real, bringing it up would only inflict a second wound. It was precisely because Yang Qingxi always left him uncertain about her true intentions that Li Wei chose to keep his distance. The reason he showed her such leniency was that when she was genuine, she was exceptionally so. Once Li Wei had vanished from sight, the tears in Yang Qingxi's eyes vanished. What a heart of stone, she murmured, he wouldn't even take me in. Yang Qingchen, seeing her sudden shift from sorrow to composure, asked in surprise, did you deliberately use this opportunity to soften his heart, making him feel indebted to you? Let me ask you this, Yang Qingxi replied, are Li Wei and I enemies? Since he declared in the White Desert that all past grievances were settled, he's no longer an enemy, Yang Qingchen answered. Then do we have any connection? As humans, we all share emotions. Yang Qingxi continued, even someone like Li Wei, who killed a stranger's grandfather, would feel guilt when confronted like that. Especially since we have a history, we've faced life and death situations together multiple times. Though I didn't achieve my primary goal, I gained 2 significant advantages. First, that old bastard Yang Yin, who always tried to use me as a bargaining chip to curry favor with the Rice Palace's immortal realm martial mystic cultivators, is finally dead. With Yang Shenjing having lost both arms, he can no longer handle everything personally. From now on, he'll have no choice but to focus on nurturing you and me. Second, making Li Wei owe me a debt, that's quite satisfying. Yang Qingxi was a Rice person, and Yang Yin was merely her nominal grandfather. In reality, she had only met him 4 times in her entire life. When Yao Qian tried to kill Yang Qingchen, Yang Yin had even voted in favor of it. Yang Qingxi had never forgotten that betrayal. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a shimmering glow across the sea. On the desolate island, the hidden lord had already stored away the 2 immortal corpses. He sat on a rocky outcrop, cradling a sword manual and gazing at it with profound interest. Who did you meet? He asked. Yang Qingxi and Yang Qingchen, Li Wei replied. The hidden lord remained unfazed, choosing not to press the matter. He tossed the sword manual to Li Wei. Yang Yin's profound 9 light illuminations is a technique he's never used before. It's not part of the Sui sect's sword technique. The Sui sect's techniques originate from the Zhu Li clan and lack such profound mysteries. Li Wei caught the manual and began to examine it. Impressive. Even though this is a transcribed copy, the person who copied it must have been a transcendent. The sword Dao Qi preserved within is remarkably potent. But why is it incomplete? Only 4 illuminations. Losing interest, Li Wei casually tossed the manual into his cosmic pouch and asked, what about the 5 dragon tendons? What's the decision? The risk is too great. The hidden lord sighed, my position within the Zhu Li clan is precarious. If my true identity were exposed, the consequences would be catastrophic. You've always been overly cautious, trying to cover all bases and maintain perfect stability, Li Wei retorted, you lack the daring and ruthlessness that Yang Shenjing possessed. Well, to each their own. Give them to Master Yao. She'll definitely dare to refine them. She's gone. The hidden lord replied. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5. Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 103, 540 The Battle for True Disciple Position. 103rd of Volume 5. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. The hidden lord removed his metal mask, revealing a lean, middle-aged face with temples framed by shoulder-length hair. He gazed at the golden, scale-like shimmer of the sea, his expression bitter. That day at the Dragon City ruins, she nearly exposed her secret of being alive, making it impossible for her to remain in the Lingxiao realm. After we parted, she traveled north along the East Sea. Perhaps she went to the rainforest living realm north of the East Sea, or perhaps she ventured even further. The world is vast, but danger lurks everywhere. She might die far from home, never to be heard from again. Or perhaps, years later, she will secretly return, like a weary traveler from afar, or a weathered wanderer come home. But how many years will that be? If the Zhu Li gods still existed, if King Kang still lived, if the chief regained his cultivation, perhaps everything would be different. Perhaps. Li Wei sensed the hidden lord's helplessness and deep sorrow. Don't be so pessimistic. Master Yao is a immortal realm martial mystic cultivator, wise and resourceful. She rose to the position of Venerable One even in the treacherous Lingxiao twin rice sect. Perhaps it won't be long before she achieves great immortal, or even becomes a transcendent, returning as an unfathomable powerhouse to surprise us with a long-awaited reunion. In truth, his heart was heavy with sorrow. Forced departure and voluntary departure were worlds apart. No matter how strong her spirit, loneliness would torment her. No matter how formidable her cultivation, there would be times when she was gravely wounded and helpless. Alone, fleeting moments of carefree solitude would give way to endless years of hardship and wasted potential. We can only hope for the best. The Hidden Lord forced a smile and straightened his posture. At least everything is moving in the right direction. The chief has returned, the Sui sect and Coffin Mountain have been routed, and Li province is now stable. Kang Li, Hidden Nine, Yin Shi, and Li Ling are all growing rapidly. Oh, what about Yaoyan? I heard she was last seen with you. The Calamity Crossing Temple has sent inquiries 3 times already. Her. Li Wei and the Hidden Lord walked across the sea, returning to Moondragon Island. Moondragon Island, guarded by powerful members of the Demon Clan, forbade fighting and killing, making it relatively safe. The Hidden Lord and Hidden One had secretly met on a ship outside the island when they were ambushed and assassinated. The Hidden Sket stronghold on the island remained undiscovered. Upon learning of Hidden One's tragic death, the Hidden Lord fell silent, clearly having anticipated this outcome. After landing on the island, Li Wei claimed he was going to retrieve Yaoyan and Hidden 24. He found a secluded alley in the sea market and released them from the blood mud space. If you seal us away again without any explanation, I'm going to be furious. Hidden 24 huffed, her eyes wide with indignation. Li Wei remained indifferent, leading the way forward. Divine Hidden One don't need to explain themselves to Hidden Ones. You'd better remember your place. Hidden 24 glared at Yaoyan. Yaoyan hurried after them. We know you're hiding a great secret, but Hidden Ones would never betray Divine Hidden One. You don't trust us enough. Li Wei stopped, his demeanor toward Yaoyan completely different from his coldness toward Hidden 24. He smiled. Hidden 24's cultivation is too weak, and she lacks the cunning necessary for trust. But if you become a true disciple of the Calamity Crossing Temple, I'll tell you any secret you ask. Really? Yaoyan's bright, beautiful eyes still held a hint of anger, but her resolve had already begun to waver. The alliance against Li Wei that she and Hidden 24 had planned was crumbling before it could even form. Of course. Li Wei added, you're not angry anymore, are you? Do you think I'm that easily appeased? Unless you teach me the bone-shifting spirit-altering manual. Yaoyan tilted her head, her gaze icy. Before she could finish speaking, Li Wei agreed, all right. Yaoyan's icy gaze shifted to surprise. She had only made a casual remark, never expecting him to agree so readily. Li Wei knew the true disciple of the ancient sect competition was bloody and brutal, akin to vying for the throne. He worried about Yaoyan's safety at the Calamity Crossing Temple. Learning the bone-shifting spirit-altering manual would give her a better chance of survival. Hidden 24, feeling Yaoyan lacked backbone for being so easily manipulated, said coldly, I want to learn it too. Li Wei snapped, what are you learning it for? Would you even understand it? You'd just make things worse. You taught me the transformation technique, Hidden 24 retorted. If I hadn't, another Hidden One from the Hidden Sect would have, Li Wei countered, giving the bone-shifting spirit-altering manual to Yaoyan allows her to compete for the true disciple position at the Calamity Crossing Temple. What would you compete for? Seeing them bickering again, Yaoyan quickly intervened to mediate. Even she felt Li Wei was being unfairly biased, as if deliberately provoking conflict between them. Yaoyan, I'll teach you the bone-shifting spirit-altering manual, but you must never share it with anyone else. Li Wei strode toward the stronghold's gate, inwardly muttering, they think they can pressure me by teaming up. I need to dismantle this alliance before it forms. The Hidden Lord observed the trio from afar, his heart heavy with concern. As Li Wei approached, he transmitted a warning, the Calamity Crossing Temple remains a Taoist sect. The selection of true disciples places great emphasis on appearances. Before Yaoyan secures her position, you must exercise restraint. Yaoyan's appearance isn't good enough. She's undoubtedly among the top few in the Lingxiao realm. What exactly are you implying? Li Wei asked, his expression freezing. The Hidden Lord nodded, exactly that. Li Wei fell silent, feeling unjustly accused. Far from entertaining the Hidden Lord's suspicions, he hadn't even properly touched Yaoyan's hand, let alone harbored any improper thoughts. Greetings, Hidden Lord. Yaoyan and Hidden 24 had already entered, leaving no room for further discussion. Seeing Yaoyan, the Hidden Lord finally emerged from his grief over Hidden One's death, a smile surfacing on his face. You've condensed the Tao Lotus. Excellent. The clan has prepared ample 6-clawed immortal dragon chi for you. Until you reach the immortal realm, you need not worry about resources. However, your path to becoming a true disciple will face its most formidable competitor yet. Yaoyan, unlike her submissive demeanor around Li Wei, possessed her own innate dignity and was far from weak. I fear no competition. What satisfaction is there in obtaining something too easily? Don't you want to know who that person is? The Hidden Lord asked. Yaoyan replied, within the Calamity Crossing Temple's 100-year history, only 2 individuals have cultivated an immortal body and achieved breakthrough to immortal. The opportunity in the East Sea might allow a few Dao Seed Realm disciples to further refine their talents, but the number of true contenders will certainly not exceed 5. Yaoyan held little regard for most of the young celestial emperors from the Dao Seed Realm throughout the Calamity Crossing Temple's history. The demon child, for example, wasn't even among the 5 she considered worthy of mention. It's Xuanhuan, the Hidden Lord revealed. Li Wei and Yaoyan both froze in surprise. The Hidden Lord continued, this isn't mere speculation. Xuanhuan herself declared at a gathering before departing for the Calamity Crossing Temple that her purpose was to claim the position of true disciple. Kang Li, Hidden Nine, Zhu Yibai, Tang Wancho, and others have already returned to the temple to cultivate. Li Wei, you should be well aware of Xuanhuan's talent and intellect. With the dramatic changes in the East Sea and the revival of the immortal Dao Dragon Meridian, the Calamity Crossing Temple needs to leverage the Xuanhu sect's influence in the region to seize territory and resources. Appointing her as a true disciple could very well be a condition demanded by the Xuanhu sect. Li Wei asked, could it be because the hidden ancestor has emerged and the chief has returned, making the Xuanhu sect feel they can no longer control the Zhu Li clan? Even allies compete with each other. Competition is inherent in everything. The Hidden Lord said, glancing at Yaoyan, don't the Zhu Li clan members and even the Hidden Ones compete among themselves? Yaoyan regained her composure and said solemnly, if it's her, my fighting spirit will burn even brighter. Li Wei retrieved 2 immortal herb petals from the underground immortal mansion and handed them to her. There are only 2. Whether you can cultivate an immortal body depends entirely on you. Thank you, Divine Hidden One. Yaoyan will repay this debt, she vowed. I've added it to your tab. As dusk deepened, lanterns lit up the courtyard. Li Wei and the Hidden Lord sat in a pavilion by the pond, conversing. Hidden 24 brought them 4 small dishes and fermented rice wine. The immortal Dao Dragon vein has indeed awakened, encompassing nearly 30,000 miles of sea. While the cultivation environment is excellent, the coming years will be far from peaceful. Conflict is inevitable as various factions vie for dominance and resources. I advise you to return to Li Province for now. Once things stabilize and we establish our sect here, you can return. The Hidden Lord informed Li Wei that the Zhu Li clan planned to establish the Zhu Li sect atop the immortal Dao Dragon vein in the East Sea and were currently selecting a suitable location. Since the Grand Palace Master revealed herself, the 3 island barbarians and dragon sect have become skittish, withdrawing their forces in fear of retribution. The 3 islands are now occupied by the Rice Palace, Calamity Crossing Temple, and Thundercloud sect respectively. Li Wei raised his wine cup, his expression slightly surprised. The 3 islands were massive, each capable of housing tens of millions of people, and all were covered by the immortal Dao Dragon vein. How did the Thundercloud sect manage to seize such a vast prize? The Thundercloud sect secured the support of the Jellyfish clan, likely through some promise or agreement. The Hidden Lord smiled. The Snow Sword Tang Court controls the Cloud Heaven Immortal Plane, while the Xuanhu sect conquered the underground Immortal Mansion. With heaven and earth claimed, the Thundercloud sect naturally wouldn't settle for obscurity. With the Imperial Court in hiding, they now stand as one of the 3 most powerful forces in the Lingxiao realm. The Imperial Court hid to evade retaliation from the Flying Phoenix and the Demon Kingdom, as well as the Zhenhai Guanwu's enemies from 1,000 years ago. Li Wei's mind raced. The underground Immortal Mansion was conquered jointly by the Xuanhu sect and the Zhu Li clan. The Zhu Li clan must have claimed a significant portion of the territory, right? Lao Li, send more people to excavate. There must be more pages of the luminous star tome down there, those are the true treasures. The Hidden Lord nodded, then sighed, it's not that easy to dig up. The Lingxiao Twin Rice sect has been excavating for 1,000 years and only found 9 pages. Perhaps you should oversee the excavation at the underground Immortal Mansion. Whoosh. Night mist surged rapidly into the stronghold, coalescing into Elder Qin's gaunt figure. Elder Qin's expression was grave. When he saw Li Wei sitting in the pavilion, his face lit up. In a raspy voice, he asked, what exactly happened? I heard there was trouble at the Hidden Sect, a Immortal Realm battle erupted at sea, and the Zhu Li clan suffered heavy casualties. The Hidden Lord and Li Wei rose to greet him. Li Wei said, it's already resolved. How did you hear about this so quickly, Elder Qin? Were you nearby? Elder Qin had rushed from the Sentinel Spirit Army's outpost on Moondragon Island. Unable to explain his presence to the Hidden Lord, he gave a vague answer before turning his gaze to Li Wei. Where's the Grand Palace Master? The Hidden Lord was also curious about this. However, he assumed someone of the Grand Palace Master's stature wouldn't reveal her whereabouts to a junior like Li Wei, so he had refrained from asking. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 5, Seeking Immortality in the Eastern Sea. Volume 5 Pinyin Donghai Xuan Xian. Chapter 104 541 Cave Void Dongshu Camp. 104th of Volume 5. End of Volume 5. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. This question is difficult to answer, Li Wei said, genuinely unsure how to explain. Elder Qin immediately understood, nodding, don't trouble yourself. It was foolish of this old man to pry. The Grand Palace Master must have imposed a gag order. But next time, at least give us a hint. If we accidentally offend her, we're doomed. The Hidden Lord nodded in agreement. We seek not merit, but the avoidance of error. Don't let the Snow Sword Tang Court, Zuaoqiu clan, and Thundercloud sect's current glory fool you. Once the Grand Palace Master achieves her breakthrough to Heavenly Emperor, they will all bow in submission. Elder Qin added, it's good nothing serious happened. The East Sea is too chaotic right now, you must be even more cautious. Wei, can we speak privately? Li Wei thought of the battle corpse in his boundary pouch. I was just about to suggest that. The two men used their movement techniques to reach the shore. Twilight deepened, waves crashing against the rocks. Li Wei retrieved the battle corpse from his boundary pouch and recounted his experiences in the nether realm of the dead. Elder Qin immediately examined the corpse on the ground. This is an iron corpse, refined while still alive. It's definitely the work of the Tai Yin sect. What a pity, the refinement has completely disfigured his face, and his body is filled with corpse blood, altering his aura beyond recognition. There's no way to identify him. How did you know he was a member of the Sentinel Spirit Army? He swallowed his spirit whistle, for some reason, Li Wei said, retrieving the whistle from the corpse's abdomen. Elder Qin immediately took the whistle. Excellent. Each Sentinel Spirit's whistle is custom-made. We can trace his identity back at Cave Void Camp. He must have known the Tai Yin sect planned to infiltrate the camp by peeling off his skin, so he preserved this clue. Good lad, you've done a great service. Seeing Elder Qin's lack of urgency or concern, Li Wei couldn't help but ask, doesn't this mean Cave Void Camp is in grave danger now? Li Wei couldn't reveal the secret of the blood awakening corpse technique, but the battle corpse had clearly stated that the Tai Yin sect intended to overthrow Cave Void Camp. Elder Qin said, the Tai Yin sect was cultivated by the Nether Realm of the Dead specifically to counter the Sentinel Spirit Army. The two sides have clashed countless times and know each other well. This is why we can't reveal the identities of Sentinel spirits. Once exposed, they become targets for assassination by the Tai Yin sect. If the Cave Void Camp were so easily infiltrated, the Nether Realm of the Dead would have wiped it out long ago. During the recent incident in the East Sea, a large number of Sentinel spirits fell, significantly increasing the risk of exposure. We've abandoned our old camp, using it as bait, and all new recruits are now stationed at the new camp. Li Wei asked, Sentinel spirits' identities and movements are supposed to be secret. How could so many have fallen at once? Elder Qin's eyes darkened. You don't need to concern yourself with that. The Sentinel Lord is personally investigating the matter, and the truth will soon come to light. You're not frightened, are you? The leader has already spoken to the Sentinel Lord about you. You can join the camp at any time. Is Master at the Cave Void Camp? Li Wei asked. Elder Qin replied, I overheard their conversation. It seems the leader and the Sentinel Lord were former Sentinel Spirit comrades with a deep bond. Staying in the Lingxiao life realm was no longer an option. The Sentinel Spirit Army did seem like a good alternative. Besides, Yuer's cursed monster still needed the soul-burning heavenly fire to be dispelled. Yaoyan, I'll come find you at Calamity Crossing Temple. If Zuaoqiu Haunting bullies you, tell her my name. I'm afraid if I mention your name, she'll beat me even harder. But I won't back down from the true inheritance competition. Li Wei bid farewell to Hidden Lord, Yaoyan, and Hidden 24, declaring he would join Elder Qin to meet the leader and enter the Nether Realm of the Dead for training. Old Li, assign a Hidden Elder to remain on Moondragon Island, Li Wei requested as he prepared to leave. Elder Qin had informed him that the space teleportation formation at the Moondragon Island outpost was the closest to the Lingxiao life realm. An hour later, Li Wei arrived with Elder Qin at the Sentinel Spirit Army outpost on the northern cliff of Moondragon Island. The outpost was a simple structure built from green flagstones, usually manned by a low-ranked Sentinel spirit and a handful of Sentinels. What's wrong? Regretting your decision? Missing the warmth of soft jade? Afraid of the Nether Realm's cold and misery? Elder Qin teased, noticing Li Wei's subdued mood as he followed behind. Li Wei was pondering how to care for Yuer. She was still just a little girl. Keeping her locked in the blood-mud space indefinitely was clearly not an option. Li Wei followed Elder Qin into the white mist behind the outpost. What's so special about those two? One's scrawny, the other's fierce. Does every outpost have a space teleportation formation? Emerging from the mist, they stood on a flat clearing where a space teleportation formation, 12 meters in diameter, lay before them. Ancient immortal giant beast blood flowed through the formation's engraved grooves. What are you thinking? Elder Qin asked. Only a few imperial psychic masters can construct these formations. Each one is priceless, every one destroyed is a loss. Each teleportation consumes vast quantities of blood crystals and ancient immortal giant beast blood, it's incredibly expensive. Elder Qin placed blood crystals into the formation's recessed channels. Aside from missions, you need to supply your own blood crystals for each use. Just look at me, a round trip costs at least 10 million Xuanhuan coins. That's enough to buy several mansions. The Cave Void Camp's space teleportation formation network was commissioned from the Mist Heavenly Sovereign long ago. They say 100 formations were originally built. Now, at most 10 can be activated. Some have been destroyed, while others remain hidden to prevent their destruction by the dead spirits and the Tai Yin sect. The Zhenhai Guanwu's mastery of space manipulation and psychic power must be extraordinary. How else could they have crafted 300 governors' official robes in a single batch, each imbued with space evasion capabilities? Alright, come in. Elder Qin finished his preparations, a lingguang radiating from his forehead as he activated the formation beneath their feet. You're not carrying any living beings in your boundary pouch, are you? They'll be inspected at the Cave Void Camp. Do 7 strange insects count? Li Wei had anticipated that entering the Cave Void Camp might be as strict as entering the Twin Rice Sect's cultivation headquarters, so he had already transferred his important items to the blood mud space. Move them outside the insect pouch to prevent it from bursting, that would be a terrible loss. There have been precedents of boundary pouches shattering during space teleportation, Elder Qin warned. Whoosh. The formation emitted a brilliant light, followed by powerful spatial fluctuations. A sensation of weightlessness washed over them. Li Wei closed his eyes, focusing intently on the shifting energies. This space teleportation lasted far longer than the one at the Twin Rice Sect's cultivation headquarters. After about 10 breaths, the light at the edges of the teleportation formation gradually faded. Li Wei opened his eyes to find Elder Qin already outside the formation, calling out, "Ah," in a drawn-out voice. He was warmly greeting a woman in her 40s sitting nearby, their conversation radiating familiarity and enthusiasm. The woman, however, didn't seem particularly welcoming. Her tone was cold and official as she said, "Inspect the boundary pouch first, then check the floating mirror. Leave a drop of blood before exiting the teleportation hall. Who have you brought this time? You're the biggest rule breaker in the entire Cave Void Camp." The woman, named Yu He, wore a green robe without any adornments. She sat upright behind a desk, registering names with a vermilion brush. Her piercing, icy gaze seemed capable of penetrating one's very soul as she fixed her stare on Li Wei. Li Wei strongly suspected she had cultivated a secret technique similar to the heavenly eye. He felt deeply uncomfortable, as if she could see right through him. Elder Qin straightened his back, his chin tilting skyward. "I haven't broken any rules this time." This young man was specifically requested by the Sentinel Lord himself. Yu He rolled her eyes, clearly unconvinced. The Sentinel recruitment period has ended. No amount of influence will change that. The new recruits, trials are already over. Send him back immediately. Elder Qin, having finally seized a chance to show off, refused to let it go. He pointed at Li Wei. "Those new recruits. Do you believe the combined scores of the top 10 in the Sentinel trials could match his alone? Do you know who defeated the Rice Palace's true disciples?" Heh heh. Yu He, responsible for intelligence gathering at the Cave Void Camp, thought of someone and turned her gaze back to Li Wei, her expression now much more serious. The disciple Yu Yaozi took in. Whoosh. The teleportation formation glowed to life once more. Dozens of figures materialized on the platform, all clad in profound armor. Men and women stood side by side, nearly half possessing pure immortal physiques. Each was strikingly young, their essence, qi, and spirit radiating with boundless vitality. Even with their auras suppressed, Li Wei could sense their overwhelming presence. Silent and solemn, they stepped off the platform and strode toward the teleportation hall's exit. Whoosh! Whoosh! One after another, beams of light descended from the suspended celestial mirror hanging in midair. Li Wei spotted Tang Zan and Song Yulo among them. Both glanced at him, nodded subtly, and hurried away without a word. Tang Zan had clearly already broken through to the immortal realm. Are they all in the immortal realm? Li Wei asked. Elder Qin nodded. They are low-rank sentinel spirits from the first realm, hailing from the 20 living realms surrounding Cave Void Ghost City. What you're seeing is only a portion of this year's low-rank sentinel spirits, recently returned from their trials in the nether realm of the dead. Li Wei clicked his tongue inwardly. 38 individuals had just passed by. 38 Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivators. In the Sentinel Spirit Army, Dao Seed Realm Martial Mystic Cultivators typically served as Sentinels, while only Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivators could become Sentinel Spirits. These ranks were further divided into Dao Seed Martial Mystic Cultivators rank in Dongshu Cave. Low-rank Sentinels. Mid-rank Sentinels. High-rank Sentinels. Immortal Realm Martial Mystic Cultivators rank in Dongshu Cave. Low-rank Sentinel Spirits. Mid-rank Sentinel Spirits. High-rank Sentinel Spirits. Those below the 7th heaven of the Dao Seed Realm were all newly enlisted low-rank Sentinels. To become a high-rank sentinel, one had to be among the most elite experts in the Dao Seed realm. For example, the top 10 performers in the new recruit trials could directly ascend to high-rank sentinel status. Other mid-rank sentinels seeking promotion to high-rank sentinel status had to accumulate sufficient merit points and then pass an extremely challenging high-rank sentinel assessment. Upon learning that Elder Qin had brought Li Wei, he completed the inspection and immediately granted passage, clearly acting on prior instructions from higher authorities. Li Wei retrieved the 7 phoenix-winged moth emperors and returned them to his insect pouch. Following Elder Qin, he exited the teleportation hall. Outside, the bright sunlight warmed his skin. Emerald Spirit Mountains rose in the distance, connected by bridges of swirling clouds and mist. The air thrummed with dense spiritual qi, making it hard to believe they were still within the nether realm of the dead. Li Wei looked up and saw a massive circular mirror suspended in midair, casting a beam of light downward. After being illuminated by the suspended celestial mirror, Elder Qin enveloped Li Wei in spiritual qi and flew him toward the summit of a spirit mountain. The Sentinel Lord is absent. Come with me to see the Deputy Watchtower Lord first, then we'll get your gear and process your camp registration. Li Wei glanced back at the teleportation hall shrinking below, the mountain ravines, training grounds, and towering halls and pagodas. This isn't what I expected. I thought Cave Void Camp would be located within the nether realm of the dead. But it looks more like an immortal mountain paradise. How could anyone cultivate in the nether realm of the dead? Elder Qin retorted, this new camp is built on the ruins of an ancient sect on the edge of the Crimson Bright Realm, right next to the nether realm of the dead. Otherwise, why would the environment be so refined? I've been advocating for this move for ages. The Crimson Bright Realm is a mid to high-tier living realm with billions of inhabitants, bustling with activity and business. The Crimson Bright Realm, are we allowed to talk about that? Li Wei asked. What secrets would I keep from you? Elder Qin replied, but don't go blabbing about it. Only veteran sentinel spirits know the exact location of Cave Void Camp. Li Wei finally understood the full weight of the phrase, you're the one who breaks the most rules. Blank. End of chapter. End of Volume 5. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.